What's up, Attack MMA? I'm your host, Zach Weicker, and today we're joined by a very special guest. He's a professional fighter with a 10-2 record, coming off a huge victory at UFC Kansas City over Gage Young. Please welcome Evan Elder. Evan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, bro. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man, and of course you're coming off that victory last month, so to start things nice and easy, what are the emotions like and how did you celebrate the victory?
Same as any, it's feels great, of course, it feels great to have the work that you put in to pay off. And the high that comes with fighting, man, is it's nothing like it. The highest of highs and the lowest of lows, you get to experience all the extremes for sure. So it's always good to be on the good end of that, But anyways, as far as celebrating, I went actually, you know what? I went back home for longer than usual after this one. I went home for like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, and spent time with the family and friends and ate a bunch of food, got kind of fat, and just enjoyed it a little bit. So it's been good, man. I'm as we were just talking just now, I'm about to go train right here after this. So I'm back to work and ready to get ready for the next one.
Yeah, and you mentioned the food there, and I'm always curious after cutting weight for so long, like what are your go-to foods when you're finally able to put back on that weight?
Yeah, man, freaking depriving yourself for so long definitely sucks. But for me, usually sushi is like my favorite meal of ever, so that's always my go-to. Go and smash a bunch of all you can eat sushi. In-N-Out Burger, love In-N-Out Burger. And I have really developed a sincere problem with sourdough bread. I'll just eat it by the loaf. Like I don't even cut it up. I just smash it and just eat it. So um those have been my go-tos for sure. But now it's I got to get my weight back down. So
Yeah.
uh no more picking out.
Those are three good ones. And you said you also had some extra time at home. So how special was that for you to reconnect with your family and friends?
It's always good, man. It's I feel like super necessary to recharge the spirit and get connected to your why. So it's always good to get to be home with the family.
That's amazing. And on the fight, obviously it was a month ago. So now that you have the time to look back on it, how do you assess and rate your performance?
The performance was pretty good. I'm happy with it. We're always our own worst critic. I can never look at anything I do and be satisfied with it. I'm like, I really like the saying that, to be happy but never satisfied. And that's really how I feel. Is like, you know what? I know I got to be happy with whatever improvements I did make. I did feel like there was improvements, so happy to see that. Far from satisfied, all kinds of stuff I see that needs to be better. Opportunities that were missed. Holes in the defense, whatever, so um yeah, just happy but never satisfied, so it's right back to work. We're gonna, start fixing up. The one thing I am happy about though is I think a lot of the stuff that I was not satisfied with is going to be able to be corrected really quick. And I think it's going to have pretty profound results that come with the corrections. So hopefully I'll be really looking at some I was upset that I couldn't get the finish, and I think that's going to be a lot different this next fight. I think that I'm going to make some small adjustments that are going to lead to big improvements, and it's going to lead to finishes from here on out. So I'm always going to be looking to get the finish, and I think that that's going to happen with these improvements that are going to be made.
For sure. And on those improvements from this fight to your previous fight, something I saw improvements was your implementation of leg kicks. You threw 26, landed 23, and your prior fight you only landed one leg kick. I mean, I heard your coach is calling for it. So was that the game plan to throw more leg kicks?
Yeah, just something we've been working on is just giving them a ton to think about. I'm hitting you at every level. We got the punches coming to the head and the body. We got kicks going all three levels, leg, body, head, left and right side, circle in both directions, in and out. So just kind of overloading them. And like I think you just said, information, just giving them a ton of information, a lot to take in, never knowing exact, not being it's really simple because it's kind of the same stuff. Low kick, body kick, high kick, jab, cross, hook. I did throw a spinning wheel kick. I guess that was the only thing that was not that was the only thing that was not that was a little flashy. But other than that, it's just it's the same stuff repeated, but in a pattern that's really hard to understand or tell, So it's we're trying to make it to where it's hard to pick up on any set patterns, so I'm not getting countered and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely that was one thing they were telling me in the fight would they were just like, dude, just keep fucking kicking the leg. Like it's there all day. And there was times where I felt like it was getting picked up on and I didn't want to get it countered. So I stopped throwing it a little bit and I should have just stayed on it. It was a failure on my part to not trust my corners, I guess, or just see what they were seeing. So um yeah, I think that the leg kicks were definitely a part of the game, and it was just not even necessarily for Gage per se, because it was kind of a week notice pretty much. It's not like we had a ton of time to game plan or prepare for specifically him, but just in general, that's kind of part of the system now is just keeping it changing up at all levels.
Yeah, and you mentioned it was short notice with Gage, with your other opponent dropping out a week before the fight. So when it's something like that, is it more of just you trying to prepare what your best at compared to what your opponent does?
Yeah, and I think the matchup was really good with me and Gage for I look at me and Gage very similar in the sense of like I don't think either one of us are specialists. It's not like we're elite level grappler or a D1 wrestler, karate or taekwondo black belt, something like that. It's like we're just high level MMA fighters. So we're pretty generally well rounded. And I think that when it comes to me at least competing against that skill set, I understand it so much that I do really well against that skill set. I think that's why I was able to shut down a lot of his weapons. I was unable to get the finish, but I felt like I negated a whole lot of his offense. But if the reason I was saying all that is because I feel like I was okay with taking a more general approach to that fight, not having to be real specific with the game plan on, this is exactly what needs to be happening. And actually, even in between the first round going into second, I was asking my coaches, I was like, how are we looking on the feet? Like, should I be looking to get the takedown? And they're like, no, don't even worry about it. You're clearly winning the striking battle. I think you're going to get the finish there. So, you know, if I was fighting somebody that, if they filled in short notice and it was somebody that was like a high level grappler, maybe I would have stayed, maybe I would have changed stuff up, keeping distance more and been a little bit more skeptical with throwing the kick to the body in case it got caught and taken down. But for this fight, it wasn't the case.
Yeah, and it's kind of similar to that. Something I took away, and I feel like makes you stand out is your composure in the fight. So what do you contribute to your ability to stay calm in the cage?
It's the mind, bro. It's just I mean, I think it's that I mean, it's literally everything. Like it's not even like fighting is like mostly mental. I think all of life is 100% mental. Every single thing that we do is a matter of the way we see the world. We don't see the world for what it is. We see the world for what we see it as. And even whenever I'm doing anything physical, I always give the example of like even whenever I'm punching or if I'm kicking or if I'm doing whatever, it's my brain and my mind and my brain communicating to my body what to do. So even the physical is really mental. So yeah, just as goofy and silly, maybe cliche as this may seem, I think that I would 100% contribute uh my calmness, my ability to stay present in the chaos with just a deep understanding of my mind, figuring out just being able to yeah just being able to be have a strong enough will that even when things are crazy and chaotic and your brain wants to check out and doesn't want to be there in the suffering, that you're able to remain calm and composed even in the midst of the madness.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Our strong mindset is just so crucial for life. So how would you say you built that strong mindset and you're able to contribute to more than just the cage and you're able to contribute that to life in general?
What's funny is, I was talking about how the mindset is everything, but I think the best way to train the mind is through the body. So, through rigorous, like incredibly difficult exercise, getting yourself to the point where your brain is telling you, yo, I'm done. Like, quit fucking doing this. I'm done. And then being able to grab, I always think about like literally just reaching into your mind and grabbing a hold of it. Like, no, motherfucker, you're listening to me. Like we're not done. We got one more rep. Just one more rep. One more rep. One more rep. and whatever that may be. One more takedown, one more strike, one more sprawl, whatever it is. One more page in this book I'm reading, one more whatever it is. But getting to that threshold where your brain is like, yo, I'm done doing this. Like I'm tired, I'm fatigued, I don't want to do this anymore. And being like, no, 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 we're doing one more. Like we got a little bit more and then a little bit more, and I've found the best success with tricking myself, not into thinking like, okay, I'm tired. Now I got, I'm going to do as many more reps as I can because it's really easy for your brain to talk you out of it. It's like, no, 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 bro. Like we're fucking exhausted. Like quit doing this. But even if your goal is to do 100 more reps, don't tell what you're going to do 100. Do one more 100 times. Do just one more. Okay, I can do one more. Just one more. Okay, I can do one more. And dude, you'll find you can do one more a lot of times.
Yeah, and you always hear from like MMA and combat athletes, like they all do these gruesome workouts. And is there any specific one that you can think of where you really tested out your mind and was able to build it by just pushing yourself the extra mile?
Dude, I mean, I think it's like literally everything. I try to keep that mindset into like literally my favorite way to do it now is like uh outside of the body because I think the body's the best way to get there. You have to be able to do it physically to push yourself to your limits, and then your brain's gonna want to quit fast. Like, hey, why are we doing this? Like, it'd be way cooler if we were just chilling on the couch or something. And so it's gonna try to talk you out of it. But the same is true for the intellectual side, doing things like reading books, puzzles, whatever, anything that's kind of boring, less stimulating than something else. My brain's telling me if I'm reading a book, it's like, yo, why are you doing this when we could play video games? Like video games are way more stimulating than this. So it's trying to have you check out all the time. Hey, go do something else. This is harder than what it should be. And you have to continually practice being able to say, no, 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 I want to be right here where the harder thing is, because this is where my real success is going to come from, you know? So just kind of rewriting that script in your brain, getting it used to like, stop being so stimulating, taking the shortcuts, looking for the easy way out or whatever else, just kind of staying put. But anyways, physically, workouts, I think my favorite things is the two things that always fucked me up the most that made me want to quit the most is the assault bike, Airdyne bike, Echo bike, whatever you want to call it, and then the cold tub. I love both of those because I hate them both so much,
Yeah.
right? And that was the quickest way I could get myself to want to quit. Um, and then of course through training, like for real high level competition rounds, like that's like the best way to train because that's going to be the closest, most competitive. And it's nice because I love both of them because on one end with like the assault bike, the cold tub, anything you're doing on your own, it's just you versus you. And that's my favorite shit. That's like because there's nobody else to break. I think once you get like a high level mind, like once you've pushed your threshold back really far, that you actually find it easier going with other people. And this is the whole point of competition. But it's easier to go with other people because you can break them before you break. And now it's not me versus me, it's me versus you.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can, a lot of times when you get to a higher level, it's easier to make other people quit than it is to make yourself quit. And that's why we have to do both. I have to constantly be pushing my own boundaries because I know somebody else is out there pushing their boundaries. And eventually I'm going to come across that motherfucker in the cage that was me. It's me versus you versus you. And we're going to see who pushed ourselves the most to see who's going to break the other person first. And but that's why you always got to be practicing both, figuring out how to stay calm and composed in the competition, but also doing the stuff that's just against you. So you're even if you are the best in the room per se or whatever it may be, that you're not focused on you versus them, you're focused on you versus you always. And so I don't know if any of that made sense. That was just just unpacking some thoughts.
No, I agree, man. I mean, I used to wrestle back in high school, and like my like kryptonite, like my knee versus knee was the Stairmaster. That was the one that always got me going. But of course, you mentioned training, and Gage Young is someone that you used to train with. So, what was that experience like fighting someone that used to be a training partner for you?
Yeah, me and Gage, it's not like we were longtime training partners or anything like that, but excuse me. Uh but dude, I really, really like Gage. You know, every time I would go out to Glory MMA where James Krause was, that's where you know, me and Gage met. I'd been out there probably for several months, on and off, you know, and you know, so I'd gotten a good bit of training in with Gage, and I really liked him. Me and him were cool, and uh, it was really weird at first whenever I got the call from my manager, you know, that they were going to be putting in Gage to fill in for the fight. That I was like, man, I don't want to have to fight Gage. That sucks. Like that was the first time I've really actually had to fight somebody like I actually know and like. And but at the end of the day, dude, I will say, and I legitimately mean this, like this stuff to me is like it's much more than fighting, you know. It's like I really, really mean that. And it's not I really look at the cage now. I look at it as like such an opportunity, like such a blessing from God to it's the place where I'm getting refined and sharpened and honed into the best version of myself to be the man and person that he has called me to be. You know, so anytime I get to share that experience with somebody else and we're stepping in there to break each other down so we can be built back up better than we were before, it's a huge honor and blessing to me, you know. So it's also at the same time as much as it sucked to have to fight somebody you know, somebody you like, it's also a really cool honor to get to share that with somebody, you know, like me and Gage. I talked to him after the fight and we were, you know, super cool. And, you know, I told like for real, like I told him, you know, I was like, man, you made me a better man. Like, I thought I was hitting him with stuff that was going to put him away, but he made me dig deep and, cracked me with some shots. And, you know, I hope that, um, yeah, and the same has been true with, you know, almost everybody I fought. You know, I never really have problems with anybody after a fight. That's one of my favorite parts of this sport is the respect and camaraderie you see, you know, after the fights. And I think it's because of that you share in um, a deep form of suffering that always equates and results in you being a better version of yourself. So it's like this deep, you've now deeply entrenched your lives with one another to where you're forever a part of my story to on the way of becoming who I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, and you mentioned Gage Young's durability, and it was an honor to share a cage with him. What are some other ways that Gage impressed you during the fight?
His composure. Um, I know what it's like to be there on short notice and you know, have your first fight in the UFC and it be really difficult to deal with those nerves. And he really impressed me. Um, with how composed he was. I even asked him after the fight, you know, I was like, how was the nerves and stuff? And he was like, I'll be honest with you, dude, I didn't really, he was like, I was really present. And I was like, bro, I could tell that in the fight. He wasn't like shook by the nerves. He was super calm and composed. And I was like, damn, this motherfucker's really here right now. Like he's not shook by the moment. So I think that that really speaks volumes to his mind, you know, his strength of his mind, like I was saying earlier, that he has the ability to you know what I like to think of is just like I reach into my mind and being like, motherfucker, I'm in control. I'm not letting you tell me I'm afraid. I'm not letting you tell me that we should be nervous. I'm not letting you tell me that I'm tired. And I think he's got that in spades. And I think that's going to lead to a lot of success.
Yeah, and from someone that used to train with to fight, the roles are reversed with you and Nazim Sadykhov as you two fought 2 years ago, and now he is one of your top training partners. So did you ever expect that you'd be so close to someone that you used to fight?
You know, I didn't really like going into the fight. I wasn't expecting like, oh man, we're gonna be, you know, homies after this, whatever. Uh, but you know, God just works in funny ways. Though, you know, the way that um, it was a cool experience. We had known people. We hadn't known each other, but we knew people that knew both of us. So after the fight, whenever we got the fight of the night, the 50G bonus, we one of my buddies FaceTimed him because he knew him, and we were like, "Yo, let's fucking go!" And so you know that was like one cool moment with the first cool moment you know we had really. And then he ended up moving. We both ended up moving to Vegas, you know, completely separate of one another. We just decided to that this was what was going to be best for our career. So now we're about both out here and get to train together and stuff like that sometimes. So it's like we were saying, like I was saying, it's not like I was like anticipating us being boys, but just the way it worked out. It's I'm glad it did. He's a great training partner and a good friend.
Yeah, and you mentioned that that fight was a fight at night, and it was a great clash between you two. So I got to ask, what are those training rounds like with Nazim now?
It's funny, bro. I love it. It's just like the fight, I think we're both um we like to bring the fight, So we train with a high level of intensity in the gym. So whenever we get to clash, it's we're locking horns for sure. So but it feels good, dude. It feels like man, it's always dude, it's the same the what we were talking about earlier with competing against yourself to push your threshold back in your mind, of your what I would say, I guess, like your breaking point. Finding your breaking point, doing one more rep, and every time you do one more rep, you're pushing that threshold back more and more. Once you've done that to a really high level, it's harder and harder to find people that are going to break you. So having elite level training partners that are right there with you, that are pushing you to be better because they're digging deep to find their breaking point, and you have to do the same, and you guys are constantly kind of battling back and forth to sharpen one another. It's super super important. So having having somebody high level like him to get to train with is awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you did corner him for his last fight against Bonfim. So what is that experience like for you, not to be in the cage, but to be cornering someone that you know so well?
Just like any other cornering situation, I always get more nervous watching watching them than I do myself, just because, that's a pretty commonality that it happens a lot with a bunch of fighters, coaches, whatever. But I think it's because you can't do anything about it. It's like it's completely out of your control. But it was sick, dude. It was so sick. It was dope to get to be right there to watch a cool moment. Him getting another victory, a big finish too. It was like a sick kind of like question mark kick, head kick, into, that didn't finish him, but what led to the finish. He got rocked, he got him up against the cage, hit him with some uppercuts, and then ultimately the fight got stopped between rounds. But it was sick to get to be there for sure, and another honor just to get to be, a tool for him to get to sharpen himself.
Yeah, for sure. And back to you, when for this fight, when you're walking to the octagon, you can just see the smiles and excitement on your face. So, how much does it mean for you to just have that opportunity to step into the cage for the biggest organization in the world?
Dude, it's the dopest feeling in the world, man. I wish, I always think back to, I hope I'm not messing this up. I need to do my research so I can make sure I'm telling the truth. But Israel Adesanya, I believe, when he knocked out Alex Pereira for yeah, beat him for the first time in MMA, when he hit him with the arrows and stuff. I believe it was that fight when he was on the mic and he was saying how, like, every single one of you watching right now, I wish you could experience and feel what I'm feeling right now. And he was like, I'm sad for you that I know you probably never will. Because to get to feel that, man, is like there's nothing like it. It's the dopest shit in the world. But um the reason you get to be there is because that you've endured so much suffering. Like you've chosen to push yourself to the limit over and over and over and over again, and it's hard to do. So it's reserved for those who are willing to do the work. And I know every single one of us, I promise you, this has been my whole goal all along, is to be the common person, to show everybody that, like, hey, if I can do this, like, anybody can. I'm just some fucking dork goofball from the middle of nowhere, that just always had a dream of, making my family proud, and trying to do great things. And but there's nothing special about me. It's just, if anything, it's just the willingness to do the work. And anybody can do that, literally anybody. So I know that it's within all of us, but few will choose to do it. It's a heavy weight to carry. And but if you do it, that feeling, bro, fuck, dude, it's so dope. It's so dope. Yeah, that's what I always think of. Like, this is just how it feels like when I walk out, like, just free, just like there's no more thinking about it. All the work's done. It's just time to live it. It's time to be there.
That's really amazing, man. And my final thing for you is you mentioned Israel Adesanya's opportunity on the mic after his win over Alex Pereira, but unfortunately, you did not get the chance this previous fight. So, was there anything you want to say to the people, or was there any call that you had in your mind?
Yeah, no call outs. No call outs. I definitely would have started with giving all the glory and praise to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Without him, I would be nothing, but through him I can do all things. And other than that, man, I was really gonna be hyped to get on the mic to say what's up to everybody that was there. because it was in Kansas City, Missouri, which is about 4 hours away from me. So I had quite a bit of family and friends that got to come. So I was really hoping to get on the mic and say what's up to everybody and get the crowd hyped up. But yeah, no, man, no call outs right now. It's just I don't feel like I'm in a position yet to like where I should be, calling shots and stuff like that. I'm still climbing the ranks, and once I get closer to like the top 15, I think that's when the call outs really matter a lot more. But right now I'm kind of in a position where like whoever they give me, I was like that's what's next. Whoever I'm stepping in there against, it doesn't really matter. So I'm just gonna be ready for whoever.
I love that. Is there anything you want to shout, anything you want to plug before you head out of here?
No, man, just that same thing I was just saying, man. All my family and friends and loved ones, supporters, just everybody, man. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Couldn't do this stuff without you. Wouldn't want to do it without you. And I hope y'all stay along for the journey because we're just getting started. We got a long way to go, but it's going to be a cool ride, man.
Evan, it was more than a pleasure speaking with you. Folks, that's all for today. Until next time, peace.